In business, there's no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. When you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on. Because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else: your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS, official shipping sponsor of the NHL.
This is Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
What's going on, everybody? Happy days. We welcome you into Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. I'm assuming it's a Tuesday, right? Does that sound right? Tuesday today? Yes, there we go. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you, live from downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Lots to get to today on the program. Glad to be back in the saddle in studio after last night's game where I was out there in Utah for Vegas, Utah for the Mammoth. And I was telling everybody behind the scenes, I
Mammoth
think
and the Knights.
Yeah, you know, it's just
reset.
I'm on a couple hours of sleep.
Reset.
Give me a second. However,
okay.
I was telling everybody back of house, I think that I am an overtime magnet. It's 3 straight games now that I've worked that have gone to overtime. And last night we were this freaking close to getting a second OT. But thankfully got out of the rink by around midnight.
In a move of solidarity, I watched the entire overtime. Because
you did?
Because I figured that you would be stuck there. So I was like, I might as well put myself through this entire overtime. Well, that was because I figured in a move of solidarity that you were waiting until this Friday to do something with me. And yet that is not going to be the case. You are, in fact, leaving and you will be out in Utah. You'll be in Utah again on Friday. So I regret wasting my time and watching that overtime in a distant move of solidarity that I did not tell you about until this very moment.
I just got the email a little bit ago, and I was very sad. I told you, I texted you right away and was like, I don't think that I can come and celebrate the end of 75 hard for you, which, by the way, congratulations, Mr. Jonathan Von Tobel has concluded officially as of yesterday. You finished your 2 workouts, you finished your diet and everything. What was the first thing that you ate or did that was non-diet related today?
I had a blueberry fritter this morning.
How'd it go?
It didn't go well. Too sweet. It's like sitting in my stomach right now like a rock. I can't do it. Can't do it. I don't know. Maybe it's just the non-sugar for a long time, but I regret it a little bit. But we'll see. I'm more of a food guy anyway. I don't know if anybody out there is like that. Like, for me, dessert is like more food. I'll take like seconds or thirds at like the family get-togethers and whatnot. So maybe that's just what it is. That will not stop me, though, from trying this bad boy. We finally got it in the mail. The Buc-ee's Overbite, which has been a Twitter sensation for the last couple of days. Ordered this a couple of days ago. So they are in. I won't eat the whole quarter pound of chocolate peanut butter goodness, but we're going to try that too.
So I don't mean to sound too disappointed, but it's smaller than I thought it was.
It's about where I thought it was going to be.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. When I saw it initially, I was like, I feel like the picture makes it look a little bit bigger than it is.
Let's see what it is.
I'm very excited to try this.
I'm going to share it with Mitchell Moss later. He's going to follow us. I told him I would cut him a piece and save it for him.
Right on. But I promise you, even though I can't be there Friday specifically for the pizza and beer with everybody celebrating the moment, you will have a beer purchased by me, if not many, this week. So we will get it done. Let's get into everything we have to come today. We got a great 2 hours ahead on Money Moves. So time to set the table.
It's time for the top headlines and topics of the day. This is The Rundown.
All right, let's get it going here. Got a great guest list today. VSiN's own Adam Burke going to join us in about a half an hour. Bad week to be an MLB manager. First Alex Cora and the Red Sox, and this morning Rob Thompson and the Phillies. So talk to Adam a good bit about that, get his best bets for the afternoon. Also, Jason Beatty covers the Magic. Talk about what is now a significant lead over the top seed in the East, the Detroit Pistons. And Joe Serralo gets some of his plays for the day as well. VSiN host, betting analyst, loaded, stacked guest list once again today.
An emerging rival of mine, Joe Serralo.
Wow.
I will be competing for best looking host with an open chest shirt with Joe coming up here in the next few months. So we'll see if he will accept my invitation to be my rival.
This can be a good discussion with Joe a little bit later on, because he's doing the thirst trapping a little bit on social media.
Don't make
JVTV next.
Don't make me, because I will. Also, very much looking forward to Adam, because his Guardians let me down yesterday. Messick put together a good performance, but that bullpen coughed it up, lost to the Rays 3-2. Might have some issues.
In fairness, though, you did say that was a risk yesterday in the breakdown.
So I was watching that, and for those who don't remember, I had Cleveland money line, and one of the things I said is, part of the risk is that this bullpen might cough it up. Sure enough, Parker Messick is solid, and then at the back end, the bullpen coughs it up, and they lose 3-2. So I was right.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of got this thing nailed.
Why didn't you bet it that way, though? I don't understand. You
nailed it.
You nailed the handicap. We're going to continue all things NHL. Yes, we'll recap a little bit of the chaos that happened last night, but puck around and find out, looking ahead to the 3 games we have coming up tonight, including a pair of potential closeout games. Buffalo looking to earn its first series win since 2007. Anaheim with a chance to upset the Edmonton Oilers as well. Just saw reports, by the way, coming out of Morning Skate in Edmonton. Connor McDavid, game time decision tonight, it appears.
You were busy last night, huh?
A little bit.
Yeah, you didn't get to see that early game, did you?
I saw.
You didn't get to see what happened there?
I saw what happened there.
What is
but
it?
Guess what?
What is it?
Guess who still has the lead in the series, JVT?
What is it?
Guess who still has it? Yes,
Who
the
was it?
Pittsburgh Penguins got a win last night.
Who was it that interrupted me yesterday when I was talking about the series and that maybe the Penguins had a little bit of a better shot that they thought they changed their goaltender and maybe things were going to start to look up, and they interrupted me with Flyers money line.
Get out of here, okay? I can be wrong every now and then, although I still think I'm right for the series.
Flyers are losing this
gonna
series.
Close this thing out.
Flyers are losing this series.
And of course, in addition to the NHL postseason, NBA playoffs rolling on as well. Crazy night last night. More action coming on today. We'll preview it all. But how about the Pistons' disappearing act? It's magic.
You guys didn't like my ad lib that I put in the
What did you write? I didn't see what you wrote.
I think Justin a smart move by Justin by not putting in what my ad lib.
I see it now.
A little inappropriate, I think.
That's where Reason Plus.
It's a very solid one. But yes, the Detroit Pistons are not performing very well in this series, especially from an offensive standpoint. I mean, look, we've talked about this 1,000 times, and it sucks to say it over and over again, but this is the problem that we have run into with the Detroit Pistons. Of the teams in the postseason, Detroit, dead last in offensive rating, just general offensive rating. We have to whittle it down to the half court. In this postseason so far, they're averaging 100.5 points per 100 possessions. That is abysmal. That is abhorrent. That is whatever other synonym you want to use for terrible. The Detroit Pistons cannot get out of their own way from an offensive standpoint. They're heavily reliant on Cade Cunningham to generate any sort of offense. They have no other really trustworthy perimeter creator. Jalen Duren has been non-existent in this series up to this point. And the sad thing for Detroit is their opponent is actually the second worst offensive team in the NBA postseason, but they're 6 points better than them essentially at this point because Detroit has been so bad. Offensive rating for the Magic in non-garbage time so far in this postseason, 106.1. Look, this is everything we've talked about with this Pistons team. Mitch Moss and I discussed it on Pod to the Futures weeks ago. There was a reason why you drew a line through them. You could kind of see this coming. It's also one of those issues where they just got the wrong opponent as well. To use the MMA adage, styles make fights. I don't trust the Magic still in the entirety of the big picture in the Eastern Conference, but they're a big-bodied defensive team that has been grinding this Pistons squad into dust, and we saw it again yesterday in an ugly game between the two. 94-88, as you mentioned, and I mean, effective field goal percentage, 37.5% for Orlando, 41.5% for Detroit, but a massive turnover rating for them, too, that made a big difference. 20 turnovers that led to 23 points, I believe.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. It was a bad start again. Turnovers are a problem again, 20 on the day, and it felt like just missed opportunities down the stretch as well. We'll talk more about this series, though. Like I mentioned, Jason Beatty covers the team very closely for the last handful of years for the Orlando Sentinel. Get his thoughts on where this series can go, and maybe if he thinks the Magic could be formidable moving on, because the Eastern Conference has been a little bit weird too. I think that's fair to say.
It's been garbage.
Okay, I wasn't going to go there, but
bad.
Not wrong. Cash your OKC sweep tickets if you bet the 4-0 prop, which I know a lot of people out there did have that against Phoenix. Is there anything that you want to react to that, or do you want to get to the game of the night?
No.
All right. Pushing it forward to Denver, Minnesota. You said you thought that Denver was going to bounce back in the spot. No Anthony Edwards, no Dante DiVincenzo. What is that going to look like? And obviously that comes to fruition. 125-113 final in favor of the Nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is just one of those where spot. Like you had to get this done if you were Denver. You have the top two guys in the backcourt not being available. Naz Reid got dinged up during the game as well. You're down in the series and on the brink of elimination and going back home. if there was a spot where you would just expect a team to come out and finally stop playing like Drek, then maybe this would be it. And finally they did. It's funny because look, I like Nikola Jokic a lot. I think he's the best player in the world right now, especially on offense. But people are deserving of criticism when they are deserving of it. And it's funny how yesterday, all of a sudden at the end of the game, Nikola Jokic is all fun and games when he wants to hand the ball over to it and rip it back. And like, guys, and then Adelman comes in. I don't know if you saw the post game afterwards, where a reporter starts to ask him about the offense, and he goes, no, offense isn't important. Getting all pissy about the way his team has been criticized. You have sucked for 4 games until yesterday. You have deserved every bit of criticism and question that has been levied towards you. And yes, defense is an issue, and Aaron Gordon's not healthy, and we'll see what happens with him moving forward. But this team has not showed up. All right, cool. So you won the contest here in Game 5. I guess we'll see what you have going forward. You should be able to win this series still, Stormy.
Yeah.
But you've got to be able to be consistent on defense, and we'll see if they can do that coming up in the next contest.
Yeah, that next game coming up on Thursday. Denver laying 6.5 on the road in Minnesota for that one. Total 224.5, at least on the early look. And you mentioned Nikola Jokic finally starting to play more like himself. He has another triple-double yesterday, which... Listen, I know that Russell Westbrook has a lot of triple-doubles. That MVP season, that was like what he averaged. But to tie him for most in NBA history, regular season and playoffs yesterday, 221st career triple-double, I don't know. I didn't realize that Russell Westbrook had that much. We see Jokic do this on like a daily basis, and it's just become so common.
Well, it's becoming so common that we're not even realizing how special it is that a center is averaging.
Yeah.
We're getting that many triple-doubles. It's been absolutely nuts. And by the way, Minnesota, hoisted by their own petard last night, 23 of 27 at the rim for the Denver Nuggets in this game yesterday. That's exactly what Minnesota had been doing with Anthony Edwards in their backcourt. They've been destroying them in the restricted area in the first few games of this contest. Flipped it. How do you like to say it? The turntables from The Office.
Oh, how the turntables.
Well, they did it to him yesterday. Absolutely destroyed him within 4 feet of the basket. So we'll see if they can keep that up here as the series moves forward.
I like yours, though. Like, eventually the worm turns.
Yeah, we haven't used that one for a while.
That's a phrase that I had never heard in my life. And
Yeah.
then I couldn't stop using it for a month after I had heard it from you. The updated series price, by the way.
You're using a broadcast for me.
For Denver, Minnesota, Nuggets laying -150 now for the set, despite still trailing the series 3-2. Minnesota available at +125 if you think without their big star, they can hold on to this lead. Okay, we got to step aside. Plenty more NBA on the way, including, by the way, a new wrinkle in the Terry Rozier gambling saga case. We'll hit on that and a whole lot more coming up on Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Hey, let me get your attention real quick, podcast listeners. I've got something for you that feels too good to be true. First, credit where credit is due. If you're listening to this podcast, you're already leveling up your betting game. You're riding along with our best bets and top angles. And when there's a good game on, you're probably getting involved with a few props and alt markets as well. But there's one more layer if you really want to step things up, and that's VSiN Pro. Yeah, I've mentioned it before, but things are only getting better for our Pro subscribers. We just rolled out our MLB prop projections, breaking down some of the best edges across strikeouts, hits, home runs, and more. And that's on top of everything else Pro subscribers already get, including public betting splits, expert picks, and betting guides across the sports calendar. If you haven't tried it yet, stop sleeping on it. You can get your first month for just $9.99 or save big with promo code POD26 on an annual subscription. Hit the link in the description and start cashing in with VSiN Pro. All right, now back to the show.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
The sports calendar never stops, and Sharp Plays is covering it all. They've been winning for 15 straight years. All of the documented logs posted publicly over at sharpplays.com. That kind of transparency we know rare in the industry. When the Sharp Plays moves, the sportsbooks take notice. Advanced AI, trusted insider intel. They find the value before the numbers shift. Start winning with them at sharpplays.com. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel, back here with you. Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. SiriusXM, channel 158. Lots to get to as the NBA and NHL postseason roll on.
And both are equally entertaining.
Both are equally entertaining to some. It's so dramatic. You get so mad at everybody on the internet. You take it as so real. As if everybody thinks that way.
I think, and you even said this, I'm a very good Twitter follow, by the way. I'm hilarious.
He is underrated, and I hate to give you compliments, but And I know you hate to receive compliments, but I feel like that one you were happy about.
Because usually everybody is, who's this Ryan Whitney?
Ryan Whitney, spitting chiclets.
Okay. So there was a video of him, like, the product's never been worse. And then you listen to the first 5 seconds, like, well, I've never watched it. And it's like, okay.
Criticizing the NBA.
Yes, that's everybody who has something to say about it. I like the NHL postseason. This has been a ton of fun. It's been great. You're about to lose this Flyer series bet to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sorry, Justin, your boys are going to blow this thing. Everything's going great. I enjoy hockey. I presented to you a Conn Smythe idea yesterday.
Yes, you did. I was very proud of you.
For the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I think that there's a lot to be had here in this market. So I like hockey.
Here's the thing to me. Is
the hockey.
I don't think you have to, just like in life when it comes to peer-to-peer stuff, you don't have to put somebody or something else down in order to lift something else up.
Agreed.
Things can just be cool and be good. It doesn't always have to be like, oh, the NBA sucks in the postseason and the NHL is great. And they all fluctuate. All of these series are different. And as we get farther along, it's all going to be fun and good. Let's just be happy.
It was Brandon Hagel at 20-1 to win the Conn Smythe.
That was 18-1. You got better memory?
Well, so you are right. I presented 18-1 on Pod of the Futures yesterday. We were looking around, and I found a 20-1. So
got it.
Worth looking at.
We'll get back to the NHL a little bit later on in the show. Real quickly, before we preview some of these games tonight in the association, we did get a new layer to the Terry Rozier gambling saga as that is developing this morning. Attorneys for Rozier planning to file a motion to dismiss his wire fraud and money laundering charges following his October arrest, but federal prosecutors claim they have new evidence that he sought and received a bribe and are actually going to file more charges against him. So this, of course, following that October arrest and the gambling sweep that saw 30 different people in cuffs. Also in that case, another update, former player and assistant coach Damon Jones today expected to be the first NBA player to plead guilty in the case after being accused of luring players into, quote, rigged poker games and giving bettors inside injury information.
Just to change the wording a little bit, not expected anymore. He's officially pleaded guilty.
Okay.
So that came down a little bit earlier today. So we are going to wait to see what the development is. I mean, I'll be curious to see what the new thing is here with Rozier if we get some more details on it. I know you loved the lady that presented the case to him when the press conference was breaking, and he went home and counted his cash. So you do wonder if there's new details on what this is. And it's always interesting. I know the legality of everything, and you're always going to try to get things dismissed, but interesting to see Rozier and his team do this when then DOJ is like, well, we got something else, so we're going to go after you for this.
I don't think you're going to get out of this, pal.
No, I mean, we'll wait to see what exactly is happening here, but the fact that there's some new charges, we will have to just sit and wait for it to develop. But Damon Jones, at least we know, first to plead guilty now, and we will wait to see what it is going to be for him as we move forward in the case.
Yeah, as you remember when this all first came down, it's a fascinating indictment. If you haven't read about it, you really should go get a little deep in the weeds in it. It's really interesting. And as you said, as anything more develops, we'll cover that plenty here on VSiN. But let's get to the games that we can bet today in the NBA. We'll go in chronological order if that's okay with you. So Philly-Boston first, even though it might not be the sexiest thing in the world. Celtics 1 win away from securing their spot in the Eastern Conference semis. Big favorites to get it done today, laying 11.5 at home, total 214.5. Ugly 32-point loss for Philly in Game 4, despite the return of Joel Embiid. He didn't look great. 9 of 21 for the floor, but 1 of 6 from 3. Peyton Pritchard ended up being the star of the show last game. What do you expect tonight?
I both laid it and I used it in our Killer Sports NBA contest.
Which, can we shout you out real quick? You're doing
I think we have a graphic if you want to throw it up. I know Gil's been tracking it, doing a great job. If you want to track this little NBA contest we have going on. So I used Boston today and I bet it minus 11.5. Celtics have been playing pretty well here at home. And in this series, in the 3 games they've won, they've covered them here. They've done a brilliant job. And the one question you have in terms of cover, by the way, is Friday night. Depending on what number you got, they covered that number. Yep. But either way, offensive rating of 130 plus in 2 of the 3 games, 120 plus in the other one. You see this here. This is the standings for the VSiN Killer Sports NBA Playoff Challenge.
Hey, I know that guy at number 2.
There you go. Gil's got 12 points. I've got 11. Actually had a really strong day yesterday that pushed me up. Was 4-1 in the 5 that I used yesterday. So I got a couple for today. Celtics are going to be one of them here. Back at home, as we've talked about, they've actually really quietly destroyed Philadelphia on the offensive glass in this series so far. Each of the last 3 games for Boston, they've grabbed over 40% of their missed shots. And for a team like this, those missed shots leading to wide open opportunities from beyond the arc. I just think that when you look at everything in the series, the way that they have played, an opportunity to step on the foot, close this thing out when your opponent in the next round seems to be stuck in the midst of a long series. We'll see. Maybe the Knicks and Hawks will just win 2 straight. And we'll move on from there. But either way, I do think that it benefits you, as we talk about all the time, to just go out there and get a win. They've played very well in this series, and I think they're going to be able to do that. And as we say with Boston all the time, Look at the results for them, Stormy. The one game they lost, shockingly enough, they shot less than 37% from three. It was a shooting variance day. I think they're going to be just fine, and I think they'll be able to close it out today.
So that's actually what I was going to point out. The story of the series for me is when Boston's making their threes, they win and cover. When they don't, they don't. And you look at the 3-point margins, game 1, plus 36 on threes, they win by 32. Game 2, minus 18, lose by 14. Game 3, plus 24, win by 8. Game 4, plus 45, win by 32 again. So if they're hitting shots, it's game over.
And you can get mad at it, but I mean, look, this is what their system is. And they work too. They don't just like walk up and jack shots all the time. Their offensive system works to get open looks, and they do get a good amount of open looks. But you're talking about the team that each of the last 3 years has led the league in above the break 3-point attempts. They take over 43% of their attempts from beyond the arc. This is just what they're going to be. And they're a very skilled shooting team. But the days that it doesn't work out, you're probably going to lose that game. But this is the way that they're going to play. This is the way they have been playing, and they have been really good this series. And I don't think Philly's got much left in the tank to get this done.
So whether it's tonight or another game in this series, Boston, we all agree, is going to advance.
Whoa!
Did I just ruin it?
You are very bad at that. Come on.
Listen, if I'm just confident.
We thought that last year, and they lost to the Knicks.
Can I just be confident and feel free to wind this back because you always do when I Gucci curse you? But
we should point out too, Circa is down to 11. I laid 11.5, and the contest is 11.5. But Circa and Superbook both at 11 right now.
This style that they play, in terms of like longevity in the playoffs and this translating series to series, Boston is the favorite to win the Eastern Conference right now. Do you think that is correct? Do you think that the way that they're playing can work against whoever they're playing next?
Yeah, I think that they have deserved to be favored to win the Eastern Conference. I've always questioned the degree to which they are favored, as we talked about in this series or just in the general picture, that the East, I think, is a little bit closer to Boston, that we expect that this team is now this untouchable entity in the conference, when the reality is maybe they're a little bit closer to the pack. So we'll see if that's the case. But yes, I mean, look, it won a championship 2 years ago. It has made them the best team in the NBA over the last 3 seasons or so, and I would expect that continues here. So I don't have any question as to the style of their play. It's going to lead to some variance, and it's going to lead to 1 or 2 of those quizzical performances that we see all the time. But I think at the end of the day, like, this is what has worked for them, and it is going to work for them as they move forward.
People appear to be taking the points nationally because we're down to 10.5 at DraftKings as well. But minus 105 for the Celtics to win the Eastern Conference, plus 450 to win it all when all is said and done. How about Hawks and Knicks? Game 5 tonight, series tied at 2. Both teams with a win at home, one on the road, back at MSG tonight. Laying, 6.5 right now, total 214.5. Which version of the Knicks are going to show up? I think that's the big question in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's really going to be the question for me in this series is it's really the offense I think you have a question about for the Knicks, because defensively, they've actually played relatively well. If you look at the 4 games they have played so far, defensive ratings 105.2, 116.5, which was game 2 that they lost, 107.9, 102.3. Like, those are all really good, solid individual game ratings for this team, 65th percentile, or higher in each of those. So they've defended against Atlanta relatively well. Atlanta has generally had issues, like we've talked about, operating their offense because they don't really have a guy outside of CJ McCollum that can generate his own look or generate looks for others. We just keep remembering, and rightfully so, Jalen Brunson just getting absolutely roasted in prime time, and especially in clutch time when the game is really tight. So the question just becomes, is your offense going to be good enough to get this done and really not allow it to get to clutch time? Look at the 2 games that they have won to this point. It has been the last time we saw them in Atlanta, and they won as a very short favorite at 114-98. You didn't get to clutch time. And then in game 1 of the series, if you remember, they were leading by a decent amount. Atlanta had carved back into it and cut it to 8 at one point. Eventually, they won by 11. So that's what it's going to be. If you get to clutch time, if this is going to be a tight game, then I think New York's going to be in some trouble, because in those possessions, they've had a really tough time stopping this offense. But if you're going to be able to lead, if you're going to be able to defend, and your offense is going to be able to do something here, then I think you're going to be able to get it done. So if you think New York wins, I would lean toward laying it, because if they're going to win, they should be able to cover this number and avoid clutch time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Both of their wins have been by margin. Both of their losses have been by 1 point in those late moments. Okay, we'll have more on this game a little bit later. Also, the Trailblazers on the brink of elimination tonight against the Spurs. Talk about that a little bit. But when we come back, we're going to get into the MLB card we've got going on today. Our good buddy Adam Burke, VSiN.com managing editor. He's got plenty of bets in pocket to share with y'all today.
Ooh, got some breaking news in the NBA as well.
And I don't know what that is, so hell of a tease. We'll get to that as well when we return here. Stick around. Plenty more Money Moves coming up after this.
on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back here on Money Moves, where the road to the Triple Crown starts now. If you're betting the Kentucky Derby, this is the time to get dialed in right now. Take advantage of our Triple Crown special. Get full VSiN Pro access through the Belmont Stakes on June 6th for just $14.99. You'll get our Kentucky Derby betting guide with expert best bets, predictions, past performances, and our boy Mike Somich's Superfecta. He hit it last year. Plus, you'll have access to Oaks and Derby previews, post-draw analysis, race day coverage, a full slate of races with expert breakdowns all week long. And of course, the daily best bets, the real-time bet splits, AI-powered prop tools, and 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app. The offer expires April 30th, so come on down. Visit vsin.com/subscribe. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. Stormy Bonantoni, Jonathan Von Tobel back here with you in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. That's one of many new awesome things going on at the website. The man who runs it all, Adam Burke, vsin.com managing editor, joining us here in studio like he always does on a Tuesday. It's a fun week here at VSiN.
It is a fun week. Yeah. And look, I mean, I got to say, you rattled it all off there in that promo. I mean, this Triple Crown special is fantastic. We just released our Kentucky Derby betting guide here today. If you go to check out our Twitter account or X account, I can confirm that our CEO, Bill 80, did say that the Kentucky Derby betting guide is effing awesome. And that's the PG version, obviously, for the show here. But very excited to have that guide out. A lot of help from Daily Racing Form. You're going to see some of their people on our shows throughout the week here as well. But Mike Somich, Dave Tooley, Ed Sehan. I wrote up a Kentucky Oaks preview in there as well. Matt Devine's design for the guide. Mike Dolan, our editor, helping me out. Got a great team here at VSiN, and this guide is just another example of that. And Triple Crown Special is a great one here. I mean, $14.99 to get this guide, which includes the past performances from Daily Racing Form. But then everything we do for the next 6 weeks, that's a phenomenal deal. So head to vsin.com/subscribe and check that out.
Good to note as well, Mike Somich is going to be with us here on Money Moves at the end of the week. And I can't remember what the odds were on that Superfecta. We talked about it in the promo there a second ago, but he nailed his handicap last year. It was awesome. And all of the reaction stuff after it hit was so cool. And so many people that tailed along on VSiN as well.
Yeah, that was one of our top 10 sports betting moments. We had that countdown a couple of months ago, or I think it was the week prior to the Super Bowl. And that was, one of our top 10 sports betting moments of the year with Somich hitting the Superfecta on air. And, of course, he'll be on with Patrick Maher, for the Kentucky Derby here coming up on Saturday. And, he's got in this guide his pace report and also his post-draw report and his thoughts on the Superfecta. So, again, get your hands on that guide over at vsin.com.
Sorry, I'm reading a breaking story. We'll get to those details really quickly. So we have two bits of breaking news. The first one is a little bit more important. We do have an injury in the NBA. Yep. It seems that one Franz Wagner, who was dealing with a calf injury yesterday, it is a right calf strain. His availability for Game 5 against the Pistons is uncertain. Will depend on response to treatment, according to Shams Charania of ESPN. So another injury for Franz Wagner. Has been dealing with these lower body injuries all year long. So that's going to be a problem. And the premier playoff coach that Adam Burke is a really big fan of, JB Bickerstaff, has a chance to get back into the series.
Maybe.
Adam being a former Cleveland guy, former Cleveland coach, JB Bickerstaff, not a big fan.
Second half and playoff collapses are just kind of his thing.
Yeah.
That spread, by the way, up from 8 to 9.5 in favor of Detroit, totaled to 11.5. I know you wanted to talk Cleveland-centric things with Adam today, though, in general, baseball-wise.
The hell was that?
I don't know.
Yesterday.
I've been saying, like, they have
for those who don't remember,
problem.
For those who didn't see it, the Guardians, they were low scoring game. They end up losing 3-2. Bassett goes out, performs admirably once again, has an awesome start. And it's funny. You were back there, I don't know if you heard me, but yesterday when we were breaking it down, because I bet your Guardians yesterday, and one of the things I say on the air is, the risk here is at the bullpen, a little beat up and not really great, might blow this thing, and they blew it yesterday.
Yeah, well, look, and I mean, that's the difficult thing, right? Because when you've got somebody like Parker Messick on the mound, the first 5 line is going to be pretty costly, right? You're going to have to pay a premium for something like that, which is why you kind of gravitate towards the full game line, right? Yeah. You expect them to have a lead. They did. You nailed that part of the handicap, but obviously the bullpen, which dumpster fire is an understatement right now with where that bullpen is. And it's led Stephen Vogt to make some really bad decisions in the middle of games lately here too, trying to push starters too far through the middle of the order a third time, stuff like that. It's bad right now. It's not a very good look.
Dropped 3 straight now, 4 of the last 5. And I was looking through your article today, And you're going against your boys today on the money line.
Yeah, going against the boys here today. Look, it's going to be very hard to win games when you're scoring 2 runs and your bullpen can't protect a lead. So that's a difficult thing. Also, like this organization, this Cleveland organization, they haven't hit a pitcher with a plus changeup since Bill and Monica were doing things in the Oval Office. Like it's been forever that this team's been able to hit somebody who throws a plus changeup. Nick Martinez throws a plus changeup. Now, they did call up top prospect Travis Bazzana. His parents got in from Australia last night. I think they probably wanted to call him up for the start of the homestand, but saved it because his parents weren't going to be able to get there until today. So he'll make his MLB debut today, batting 7th. I don't know why Steven Kwan is still leading off for this team. He's been terrible this year, terrible for about an entire season at this point in time now, if you go back to the middle of last year. The lineup construction is bad. Bunch of lefties against a changeup artist. Bullpen can't do anything. Look, if I lose this one, it is what it is. But you know, look, this is a team. Look at their left-handed batters, right? They have the highest changeup rate against this season. They're batting 136 with a 214 slugging and a 186 weighted on base average. Nick Martinez is going to throw his changeup 35+% of the time tonight. I think he has success with that. Again, if I lose, so be it. And I guess it's an emotional hedge, but this is not a good Guardians team right now.
Yeah, 21st right now in bullpen ERA. Really hasn't been fantastic for Cleveland. So I don't think this is in your article, but we did get a little bit of news today. It's not like huge news, but I think it's interesting. Are the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani gunning for the Cy Young for Ohtani this year? So today, I don't know if you saw the story, he's going to pitch in his next start, but he is not going to hit. And this seems like maybe you're trying to, Adam, save his body a little bit here. He's been pitching extremely well. Is this the Dodgers maybe going for him to actually win a Cy Young as well as an MVP?
Yeah, I think it's a really astute observation, you know, especially because, I mean, look, the guy's going to win the MVP again,
right? Which
is ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, if he's healthy, you know, I don't know that we get 166 innings out of him, which is his career high back in 2022. But if we can get in the 140 to 150 range and he's dominant and he's got, you know, he's going to have to get close to 200 strikeouts, though. That's going to be the biggest thing. He's got barely over a strikeout per inning right now. He's going to have to start generating more strikeouts, I think, to win the award if he only throws 140 or 150 innings. But to your point, yeah, I mean, this is quasi load management, right? Where also their lineup is just stupid good, and like they could DH Dalton Rushing and it's completely fine, you know? So I could see that kind of being the way that they're looking to go here. I think it's a really astute point.
By the way, okay.
I was just saying, this makes me feel better because I feel like I was being made fun of to an extent when I had brought the Cy Young odds up when it was like 18-1 to a handful of our guests, when it's down to plus 850 now.
No, nobody ever made fun of you.
That's all you do. You don't even speak to me like I'm a human.
That is correct. That is all I do, but nobody made fun of you. I think the rebuttal was, as he said, just wasn't going to pitch enough innings, but now it would seem, starting today, and they're not going to let him hit. So it seems like they at least know what they're doing. They want him to push for this, at the very least, get him ready. He's plus 850 over at FanDuel to win this thing. Also, by the way, I believe it is Jansen Junk who is getting the starts for the Miami Marlins today. Junk has been pretty solid. I think he's going to get absolutely wrecked today, but he has done pretty good stuff this year. So I just want to point that out. I apologize.
Solid. Junk is an interesting name for a starting pitcher.
Right?
He's not really a junk baller. He kind of added a little bit of velo in the offseason, but yeah, I mean, it's that lineup. Like, it's just so hard to turn that lineup over.
Yes.
They're going to get to you eventually.
Go ahead, host with the most.
Okay, sorry. I thought you guys were vibing there for a second. I didn't want to interrupt the flow. I know the A's today, you have a couple different angles you want to buy in on them. What's the approach?
Yeah, a few different things here looking at the Sacramento Athletics today. Chris Bubich getting the start for the Royals. Aaron Savale is going to get the start for the A's. I'm not a big Aaron Savale guy. He's made one start at home so far against the White Sox, didn't pitch well. So that's part of the handicap here. But the bigger part of the handicap for me is, so Chris Bubich. So this is pretty interesting here. The estimated success rate for his infield defense based on the batted ball data, 77%. The actual success rate, 88%. So he's not having that great of a season, and his infield defense is really thriving behind him and really overperforming. I don't think that's going to continue. Sacramento's a very fast infield, right? Doesn't rain a whole lot up there. It's very sun-baked, all that kind of thing. And obviously the ball carries well, you know, certainly much better than it did at the Oakland Coliseum. So I think this is a pretty difficult start for Chris Bubich here. 190 batting average against, 248 expected batting average against. That's a big part of that infield defense I just talked about. 477 expected ERA because he's given up a lot of barrels this season. I don't think this is a good matchup for Bubic here against the A's, especially with Brent Rooker back, one of their top right-handed bats. So I like the A's first 5 team total over 2.5. That was at plus 114 at DraftKings this morning. A's team total for the game over 4.5 runs. That's even money because the Royals are 29th in bullpen FIP this season. And then also over 9.5 because I don't trust Aaron Civale in this ballpark either. So a lot of total plays there, a lot of overs, but I think we could see some runs here tonight in Sacramento.
Full total for the game sitting 9.5. Juice on that under at minus 118. Moneyline price on the A's minus 105. Moneyline for the Royals minus 115. Okay, you hear that music? We got to step aside here real quickly. We will continue our baseball talk. Still a couple more plays we want to get to with Adam. Plus, I mentioned it earlier, bad week to be an MLB manager, apparently. We'll get Adam's reaction to some of the changes that we have seen at the helm this week.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
It's a big news day in the sports world, and we got news earlier today that if you are a subscriber for YouTube TV, you now have custom multi-view. Now, it is fully customizable, which means that you can choose every single one of the things in your quad box. Now, why does that matter? Why do I want to talk about this at the top? Well, guess what you can also find on YouTube TV, folks? You can find the Vegas Stats and Information Network. So how about that? The same screen experience we always talk about, especially with our live betting programs, VSiN Primetime, Live Bet Saturday, Live Bet Sunday. You can put it on instead of Wolf, Bleepin' Blitzer, or whoever else they offer me for these quad boxes. Don't need them. Now you can put VSiN on with all of your sporting events. I know our own Zach Cohen's in a picture, watching tennis along with the Vegas Stats and Information Network, and you too can. So check it out, YouTube TV, now with the fully customizable multi-view. VSiN, one of your options.
I genuinely don't know why this hasn't been a thing from the beginning, why they were forcing your hand for the specific things that you could add to the quad box.
I would assume technological restrictions of some sort that they had to fix.
But the things that they picked just didn't even make any sense half the time.
Yeah, that I did not get, because I do mean, like, I enjoy watching all the news networks, but I would say that the choice to put sports together with all of the news networks was one that I never was really understanding at all.
I have no opinion. I don't have YouTube TV, so.
Wow.
I do, and I'm a VSiN subscriber.
Yep, boom, bing bong. But no, I think that's great, though,
You
because
don't have to pay for your subscription to VSiN.
Well, I mean, on YouTube TV, you do.
yeah,
you still have to pay for the sports
package.
Yeah, unless there's a way that you can connect them, which somebody said, but yes, it's like it's it's a very cheap thing, so go check it out.
But no, it is cool. I know, like, we've talked a lot
$3.
about, for our multi-viewing experience, you have to have multiple devices and all this stuff, but to be able to have it all in one place, that's awesome, and it's going to be even better during football season. We do all of our live bet programming during the NFL Sunday slate, so it'll be great. With that in mind, you mentioned being subscriber in the VSiN Watch app and all of that. VSiN Pro subscribers right now, we have a ton of stuff over at the website. Adam runs it all, including, by the way, his MLB article, which is out today, as it is just about every day. Where else would you like to go on the card today, though? I know you've got a few things we didn't touch on
Can
yet.
I interject? It's one of the games that you have. You did not bet against him in any way, shape, or form, but it is a game that I think very interesting. No, go back up. I saw your notes. Cincinnati Reds, Colorado Rockies. So first off, let us know what your bet is here, but also Tomoyuki Sagano is a guy that numbers to me scream, a man should be getting knocked around at some point, but we also share a disdain for this Reds lineup. Is Sagano starting today, or they switch him?
It's supposed to be Kyle Freeland today.
Oh, what? I was still looking at notes. I thought it was Sagano. All right, well, I take the Sagano thing back. What do you got for the Reds today?
I mean, well, the Sagano thing is absolutely worth bringing up, though, too, because that's a guy, like, he's going to get to start tomorrow, or at least he's slated to start tomorrow.
Okay.
Brandon Williamson's going to go for the Reds in that one. I never understood that signing, other than the fact that he was a breathing human being who's pitched to the major leagues before.
Correct. He also has two
he has
arms.
a massive home run problem. And that's not really a great thing at Coors Field. It's not a good thing in Cincinnati either. So, yeah, he's supposed to get the start tomorrow. But I think the reason why they're going with Kyle Freeland today is part of the reason why I made this bet that I made. So, under 14.5 outs for Kyle Freeland today. Haven't seen what the juice looks like now. It was minus 123 earlier when I wrote my article based on the DraftKings price. But the reason why I think they're using him today is because they were off yesterday. So they have everybody in the bullpen available. I don't think Freeland's going to work deep into this game. Threw a 41-pitch sim game last week, threw a bullpen over the weekend, and then they were like, yeah, okay, you're good to go. No minor league rehab appearance, nothing like that. I don't think that they're going to push him. There's no reason to really push him here. Tanner Gordon is completely available. They could piggyback with him. He's a guy who made 15 starts last year for this team. So I don't think Freeland's going to work very deep into this game at all. Also, the Reds against lefties, 25% walk rate, or 12% walk rate, 25% strikeout rate. That's a lot of deep counts. That's a lot of pitches. That's going to run up the pitch count for Freeland. I think under 14.5 outs with him. Gave some thought to under 3.5 strikeouts too, because he's not a big swing and miss guy. But under 14.5 outs, I think even with some juice on the under is worth a play here tonight with Kyle Freeland.
VSiN.com managing editor Adam Burke joined us here in studio, as he always does on a Tuesday. The Mets, Adam, have won just 2 games since April 7th. It is the 28th for anybody who is wondering, so not good. Yet they're pretty large home favorites today with Clay Holmes on the hill, minus 186. Total 8 here against the Washington Nationals. What should people know?
Yeah, the Mets are...
There's something.
What a massive disappointment this team is, right? I mean, obviously they had the Juan Soto injury. And look, you don't replace Juan Soto, right? This is a guy who gets on base over 40% of the time. Like, that's going to hurt your offense. There's no doubt about that. Now they don't have Francisco Lindor, so they're missing another piece here. But if they can't hit Zach Littell today, there's much bigger problems with this Mets team. He's given up 23 runs on 34 hits in just 25 innings so far this season. 7.56 ERA, 7.99 expected ERA, 8.61 FIP. He's given up 11 home runs so far this season here and only has 15 strikeouts. So that might be something we want to watch as we go forward here. But Clay Holmes is also a pretty big negative regression candidate. Left on base percentage around 90%, batting average on balls in play 207, not getting a whole lot of strikeouts. I think the Nationals can hit him, and I think the Mets can certainly, as everyone else has, hit Zach Littell here. So I like the over 8 in this one. Neither bullpen is particularly great. It's not a warm night at Citi Field, so that's part of the problem here and part of the reason why this total is sitting at 8 with some under juice. But I just think from a matchup standpoint, these are 2 starters that, one of them's in line for a lot of negative regression in Holmes, and one in Littell is just bad. So I played the over 8 in that one.
What have you made of the managerial changes we have seen? And before you actually get to your personal thoughts about the actual changes, what will a managerial change do for a team? We saw Torts come into Vegas and everything was great until, of course, they've struggled in this series to an extent. That power play didn't really look better yesterday. But what do we do with these managers and actually impact-wise? What does it do for a team day to day?
So the cop-out answer, right, is that you got to take it on a case-by-case basis, right? Sure. Because, you look at the Pirates last year, for example, with Derek Shelton. They were a much different team when Don Kelly took over. You could tell that it was a very toxic environment with Shelton. The players didn't like him for whatever reason, and they just seemed to be playing differently, right? There was a different vibe with the Pirates last year. When you look at this situation with the Red Sox, a lot of guys seem pissed off that Alex Cora wound up being the scapegoat for this start to the season here, and that Craig Breslow is kind of running a dictatorship, it feels like, with the front office here. And Trevor Story came out, and he was a lot more honest with the reporters during his media scrum than most guys are typically going to be. He just kind of let it all hang out there, how he felt about things, said he wanted to talk more to Breslow. We'll see if he has more to say after that. But the Red Sox don't seem to be very happy with how this whole thing transpired, especially bringing Cora back after he was suspended for a season for his role in the sign-stealing scandal with the Astros. With the Phillies, I don't know, right? I mean, Don Mattingly, there's a little bit of nepotism here because his kid is in the front office, so he winds up being the interim manager. But also, he's a guy who's managed at the big league level already. Was part of the Dodgers coaching staff as well. So it's not like this is a out of nowhere appointment having him as the manager. Does it make a difference? I don't know. To me, this is one of those where the players kind of look at it and go, "Yeah, we got Rob Thompson fired because of the way that we're playing, and we need to step it up." And I think that when you kind of take accountability for that, the team will kind of go in a different direction, a more positive direction. I don't know that that's going to be the case with Boston, though, where everything just seems very dysfunctional right now.
Our producer, Justin Emery, wrote in our rundown earlier today when we added this Phillies note that he can finally watch Phillies games again. I mean, worst start to a season in over 2 decades. It's been bad. Interesting kind of tie between both of these changes, though, is that Bob Nightingale, well-established MLB writer, reported that Cora was actually offered the managerial job before Mattingly, which I did think was kind of interesting, but he turned it down to spend some time with family.
A lot of that has to do with the fact that Dave Dombrowski and Alex Cora are very, very close. Dombrowski was, the president of baseball operations and had a lot to do with the Red Sox over the last, the first tenure really for Alex Cora. So that is interesting, right? But thinking about bringing in an outsider when you've got a guy like Mattingly right there, when you've got, a connection in the front office to Mattingly, that's kind of strange to say the least. But I mean, Cora, when you look at kind of the way that Alex Cora sort of responded to this on social media and all that, he seemed genuinely relieved.
Sure.
And that's a problem, right? Because when you have dysfunction in the front office, that stuff leaks down to the field. The players are very much aware of what's going on.
The picture?
That's a bad sign. Yeah.
All the coaches on the runway?
They're all smiling except for Veritek, who's got the thumbs down.
Yep.
It's a bad sign organizationally for what's going on with the Red Sox right now.
Okay, before we let you go, for anybody who might have missed the last segment, we were talking about a lot of the stuff that's going on at the website right now, the Triple Crown special. But part of that special is the Kentucky Derby betting guide that's going to be coming out. What's all going to be in that bad boy?
Yeah, look, even if you're not a horse player, there's still the Opta AI player prop projections for MLB and NBA, all of our content across all the other sports. But if you are a horse player, this is a tremendous offer for you with our Kentucky Derby betting guide. $14.99 gives you all access pass to a VSiN Pro subscription from now through June 6th, which is the date of the Belmont Stakes. But in this Kentucky Derby betting guide, we got picks, we got past performances from Daily Racing Form, Mike Somich's thoughts on the Superfecta, which he did hit last year, and it came through live on air while he was broadcasting during the Derby. We got previews, we got picks from all of our horse players, as well as some additional picks, like I said, from DRF. So great guide, very, very useful guide. Get it over at vsin.com/subscribe.
Yeah, that full access or $14.99, pretty hard to beat. But this offer does expire in a couple days, April 30th. So make sure you get in there and sign up while you can. Thank you to Adam. As always, we'll see you again next Tuesday. And we'll be right back. Reset in hour 2 here on Money Moves.